Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's show of the Weebs of the Ring podcast. We're here for episode 46, and it's Stampede time. We have a headliner of the Bloodline will be acknowledged. Solo Sikoa asked for that, and he got it. Did he? We'll break it down because he made Cody Rhodes, the champion himself, feel helpless for his friend in arms that helped him, got his back, but no, he got his back taken out instead. Randy Orton by Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu was on a rampage tonight. He was going for everything and anyone, did not matter as long as it came from an order from the tribal chief himself, Solo Sikoa. And then we have Tiffany Stratton celebrates her Money in the Bank. And we have interruption from Nia and Bayley. We'll break that down. We have Michin versus Nia Jax. And we have DIY defend title a week after just winning for the rematch. And we will talk about the mayhem that happened afterwards. And then we have a Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews team up. Who wanted this? Who was excited for this? Are you happy for this team up versus Angel Garza and Humberto Carillo? Let's talk about it. LA Knight finally fucking calls out Logan Paul and says, hey, I want that US title. You have not taken me out. This is my title down the line. And we have Naomi versus Blair Davenport. And lastly, an Andrade video package. So with all that breaking down of what we're going to be discussing for tonight, without further ado, let's start the show and have a good time. With anime in their souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are the trio, no, duo of weebs of love and thoughts of wrestling out of control. We are a duo of weebs who love entertainment of professional wrestling, allows to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and prediction of what's to come, and provide an experience exclusive to all nerds. Grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience like none other. Brought to you by AniMa Studio. This is the Weebs of the Ring podcast, and tonight we will have our lovely co-host announce himself. As for the podcast for tonight, your world champion Whawkins is not here tonight. Just like Logan Paul, he didn't show up to work, but he will return next week. All jokes aside, he's having the night off. He got things to do. And myself, the visionary, Legend D Vash, who sees the future that Cody Rhodes will finish his story with the Bloodline after SummerSlam. And my co-host for tonight,
dropped this box, and it's gonna be fun to talk about tonight's episode of SmackDown. A lot of stuff to dive into.
So as usual, we will talk about how we've been doing over the week, but instead we're gonna switch up that what have we been watching other than Raw until now. NXT happened, AEW happened, and TNA happened this week. I know that you saw NXT drop, and I did myself. How did you enjoy NXT? Would you like to give any type of highlights, thoughts about this past Tuesday with Trick Williams and Joe Hendry finishing the night of NXT?
One of the well, I only watched like bits and pieces of the show, so I didn't really catch it live. I mainly just saw what I saw on Twitter, but I did see the match between Trick Williams and Joe Hendry, and I do like how they're showcasing that partnership with TNA because that's a good thing to really show, and I'm glad that this is a reoccurring thing. It wasn't a one-time thing where you had that match with Roxanne and Jordan Grace. Like, I'm actually glad this is a thing that we're seeing more of, and I wouldn't be surprised down the line if they have like some sort of crossover pay-per-view where you have the TNA and NXT going up against one another. Like, it's just really cool just to see this cross promotion, not just for this, but also tomorrow as well. EO and AJ have their matches. I know EO has a match in Marigold probably in like a few hours because they are in Japan. So
Yeah.
Those matches are probably going to be around 2 or 3, which now that I think about it, I do have videos I need to edit throughout the podcast. And I don't know if Vash is going to be up later, but that might be something we could check out later.
Oh yeah, that'll be exciting. I have no plans for tomorrow, so like Drop said himself, you guys could probably expect another short. We appreciate the support that you guys have given us. Exclusive,
Yeah.
a big shout out to Nick himself. He was part of that video. He put all the work in that, so I want to give a big shout out to that and all the fans and subscribers that came and watch us. Hopefully, you're entertained by us.
Yeah, I'm honestly quite surprised how much that short blew up, because I mainly just wanted to do that short just to spread the news of, actually this is also something we should probably bring up as well,
Yep,
considering this was the big highlight throughout the week.
I
But with
appreciate that transition,
Stephanie,
Drop.
Vacker signing with WWE, that's a pretty big bet, pretty big get for them. Going more in depth, because obviously this is our live show, so I can say a lot more than I can in a minute, because YouTube only allows you a minute for those shorts.
Yep.
But I am, I'm not like completely familiar with her. Like, I did some research on her before I did that short. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm not gonna pretend that I
Oh yeah.
followed her career all the way through, because there's a lot of wrestlers that come into WWE for the first time, or any other promotion that I check out, and I pretty much pick up from what I see from them from there. Like, I heard a whole bunch of amazing things from Jacob Fatu, but this Jacob Fatu that we see right here is the one I'm going to be seeing as we follow his career in WWE. So the same thing with Stephanie Vacker. She recently signed to WWE. That's a big get. I heard she's one of the biggest free agents when it comes to a women's wrestler out there. I also heard she's considered one of the best women's roster out there. I mean, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, which is honestly great that they're adding that to their division, because one of the things you got to look into, especially when it comes to NXT, is when you have all these people on the main roster, that's not it. Like, that's not all you're going to be seeing. Like, the reason why we have NXT is because that's a show where we start developing the next generation when it comes to all these different kinds of talent. That's where Braun Breaker came from. That's where Carmelo Hayes came from. In a few years or so, you're going to see Trick Williams transition from NXT to the main roster. That's pretty much your whole future right there. And when it comes to the women's division and having somebody like Julia and Stephanie Vacker there, that's actually pretty good. Like, especially when you have two belts there, so now you could actually flesh out the women's division even more. That's exciting. And I was going to make a short on this, but I thought I might as well just bring it up in here because I don't really think it was worth the short. But Stephanie Vacker is actually going to be participating in the live shows, because they're doing a tour in Mexico for WWE, and she's already set to make her debut over there. And that's pretty exciting. I mean, you just signed, you already have a plan for her right there. That goes to show that they see potential in her and they want to utilize her. And I'm honestly super excited to see what comes out of it for her.
My 2 cents to add towards this topic as well. Like, this is good opportunity for Stephanie Vacker. Like myself, like Drop said, I don't know much about her as well. I've seen clips online. I have seen her fights in Ring of Honor and what happened in Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
I've seen clips that has been going on around the timeline. Also, her wearing the 3 belts, knowing that how skillful she is, knowing that there's a lot of other big companies, giving her these type of titles, seeing how she has grown as an individual. Because if nobody knew as well, she had tryouts for WWE back in 2017 or 2019. I mixed up the year, but it's one of those years that she had tryouts and they didn't choose her. They didn't hire her for whatever reason, and she worked on herself. She bet on herself, just like Cody has done for the past 2 years. She bet on herself, and she did what she did, and look where she's at now. She chose the option. People could be fabulous, whatever you want to be. People need work, and the company of WWE has been here for so many years. So we have this opportunity that she chose between option A, option B, AW, and she chose this one. People could be mad about it, what it is, that girl could have gone somewhere else, but guess what? She chose this one, and she's doing great. Great opportunity. Like Drop said, I'm fucking excited that she's actually got signed and already about to debut the weekend that they're about to be touring in Mexico. This is something I did not expect. I believe it happened on Tuesday or Wednesday, was it? That the report came out that Tuesday Wednesday morning, and then during the afternoon, Shawn Michaels confirmed the report and already greeted her in, saying that can't wait to have you in NXT, blah blah blah. So to see that type of report and see that type of announcement already be prepared is amazing. I did not expect that.
And one of the other things I do want to add on to that, like especially what you said when it comes to like the tribalism with that, like I'm not gonna like go out on a rant or anything, but I will say this: if you are a fan of this woman, like if you wanna see what she does next in her career, you'll watch her regardless what promotion she goes to. If it's WWE, if it's AEW, if it's TNA, if you are a fan of this wrestler and you care a lot about her, you'll watch her with whatever promotion she goes to, because just because she goes to WWE or just because she goes to AEW shouldn't change your view of her if you've been following her career up to this point.
I agree. You gotta believe in you want those superstars to work better and have a job. The point of them being a better version of themselves is to be upfront, and they got the page they want. Sorry, not page. They got the contract they want, and they chose the right company. So, it is what it is. Now, apologies, excuse me. But we spoke about NXT. We spoke about Trick Williams. We spoke about Joe Hendry. I gotta say, that song is still addicting. You gotta believe he got some shirts. If I had the extra funds, I would have popped a shirt. I would have copped one, wear one, and I will say I believe in Joe Hendry. The song's addicting. The hype that people have for Trick Williams and Joe Hendry was amazing. Congrats for them and the mix that TNA is doing. I would like to see a pay-per-view or PLE during Survivor Series drop that it mix up with NXT and TNA. I feel like it will work very well.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely love that. I mean, I think it's honestly coming. It just depends when.
Yeah, it's just our opportunity. We cannot wait to see what's the vision that Triple H and Shawn Michaels is doing. But we do see this vision, and it's called the Headline Story. If you're here for the first time, the Headline Story is what we'll be discussing about the main event, the thing that took the show by storm for SmackDown, and as the Bloodline will acknowledge. It will be acknowledged by Solo Sikoa, and he's eyeing the title of the WWE title. He said it himself that the old Bloodline used to have all the belts. The WWE title used to have the tag titles. They used to have all the gold. But guess what? Things have happened. They don't. This new Bloodline is looking for blood. And I'm going to pass it to you, Drop. What did you think about this whole segment, the promo package we got Solo, saying that by the end of the night, tonight, everyone will acknowledge me. Cody and Randy's backstage. Like, what was your whole impression by this since last week with Solo pinning Cody? What did you think about the build-up, where we finally got to? Were you satisfied with this to finally get this for SummerSlam? Since we heard the rumors already, now we're seeing how it shakes up.
I'm honestly glad that the Bloodline is being built up properly, because before, when Roman had his own Bloodline, you couldn't really take them that seriously, because every so often you had Jimmy or Jay losing matches, or Sammy was losing matches. But at least with Solo's version of the Bloodline, you can actually take them seriously, and they're actually built up as a threat, where you're not having them lose like random matches every week. Like, you're actually having them being booked strong. And I liked how, even though Cody didn't have to get pinned at Money in the Bank, it still showed that Solo is a threat to Cody when it comes to obtaining that WWE title, or just delivering a message to show that this is how the Bloodline should truly be run. It's just they're just having a proper showcase, and I could really appreciate that, because that's something that I really want. because if everything wasn't in order like it is now, then people wouldn't take Solo seriously. And I remember many months ago, I should say, or maybe even when Solo first came up, people didn't really take Solo seriously because he was quiet, he didn't really do anything, and then he just lost every match he was in. Like, but now with like this version of Solo, he's a lot different, and I pray for him whenever Roman Reigns comes back, because every time I see him talking about Roman Reigns and doing Roman Reigns' whole spiel where he's talking about whatever city they're in, they're saying acknowledge me, like I can only imagine not only what Roman is going to say on the mic when he has that microphone in his hand speaking about Solo, but I can only imagine what he's going to do once he gets his hands on him. Like, Solo is digging himself a deep grave, and I can only imagine what's going to happen at SummerSlam, because I am pretty confident, especially after what we saw tonight and all these different kinds of shots being thrown at Roman, I am pretty confident he's coming back at SummerSlam, because it does make sense, and I don't know what to say for Solo.
I agree 100% with what you just said, that with Solo, this is the perfect opportunity for Roman to come back. Even today or yesterday, rumors has been start to speculate with Roman being greenlit to come back to the roster, like coming back with his return. We also got a greenlit to somebody clear for medical, Jimmy Uso. He also got cleared today. It's been reports that he got cleared from his report. So either A, he was actually injured, or by the storyline that he just got clear around this time. So really curious to see that now that Jimmy is clear, Jay don't got nothing for SummerSlam that I know of so far. So we have Jay, Jimmy, and Roman possibly appearing for SummerSlam, and I can't wait to see what type of speculation or what type of turn events could that lead to. But let's first talk about the video package. I would like to say I love how they continue to make Solo in the middle, and we have Jacob Fatu in the back, always in the praying position. We had him in the video package like that, and tonight as well during Solo's speech. He was in the praying position the whole time, while the Tongas was in their suit and tie, just, you know, all up and ready, to looking professional alongside with Solo. But it was very intriguing how Jacob expression was always in the praying position. Did you catch that? Is that something that you're curious about as well, or what does that mean, or it doesn't have no interest of what that could possibly mean?
Yeah, I'm not too sure yet. I might have to wait a little bit in order for me to really sink my teeth into it to really get a good idea what sort of direction it could possibly be going down, because you never really know when it comes to the Bloodline, like whatever goes through their heads.
It is one thing that, because even Cody and Randy had a backstage segment before all this happened, and Randy says, and again guys, I'm paraphrasing, but he said once he's done with the Bloodline, there's going to be a lot of men coming after his WWE champion. He's speaking to Cody, and I'm going to have your back at that time still. When Randy said that, I thought he was gonna say I will be after the title as well. I thought he would like say, like, I will lead up to saying I would like a one-on-one for the belt, Cody, in the future down the line. I thought that would have been set up.
Yeah, what I personally think what's going to be happening is, like, depending on what sort of direction this Bloodline story goes on with Cody and Randy, I feel like it's probably going to build up to a turn where Randy Orton more than likely is going to turn on Cody Rhodes. Because one of the things that I did notice when he was going over what you just said is that he did a cough, almost letting us as the viewers know, where he's like, and then he said, I'll also have your back. So pretty much what he meant by that, like I just did, it's almost like he's just telling us, like, yeah, I'm gonna be one of those people down the line.
Yeah.
And you also have to figure out exactly, okay, what reason is Randy gonna have to go after Cody? Could he ask for a match and get it? Sure, but they're not gonna make it that simple. Like, there has to be a legitimate reason to get Cody's attention to really head down that direction. Because the thing about Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton is that this feud needs to be treated properly. I don't want it to be one of those things where it's just thrown together just like that. Like, this is going to be probably one of Cody's biggest feuds outside of Roman Reigns, or I can honestly probably say it could be around the same level, just
like
given
the same
history.
Could be because of the history, like the history of the legacy, what they built up. It is on the same layers and could be more, because with Roman and Cody, they have a bit of history, but with Randy, they have layers to talk about and things to talk about. Their parents having like extra generation, so it's just many more layers for it.
Yeah, so I'm sort of expecting there to have something happen between the both of them, because this is what I like about this. I like how KO isn't there, because now you can start building a story between Cody and Randy, like just focusing on the both of them, because KO would feel like a third wheel if he was involved in that story. So I like how they're taking time to have this story being focused on Cody and Randy, and then once it gets to the point where Randy gives Cody an RKO or he turns on him or do whatever it is, then you could go from there, because at least you're setting something up for Cody outside of SummerSlam, so he's not just left there not knowing what to do next, because obviously we know what's going to happen once Roman comes back at SummerSlam. It's just going to focus on between him and Solo.
Yep.
So there's not going to be Cody involved there, so at least you have something set up for Cody. And like I said, I'm hoping it's built properly, it makes sense, it's actually being taken seriously, because this isn't like a B-level this isn't like a B-level match or anything. This is probably this is pretty much like the student versus the teacher.
Yeah, I see that.
Because Cody's even said before, when they all aligned with one another, that if it wasn't for Randy Orton, he wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
So Randy could easily spin that on Cody and be like, well, you did say if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be here right now. Like, all this success you're getting now that you didn't get before, I'm the reason behind all of that. Which is true, because
to an extent,
to an extent, at least when it comes to WWE, by like taking him under his wing. That's what I mean by that, because realistically, Cody reinvented himself to bring him the way he is now. So all of that's on Cody. But if you're talking about somebody bringing him under their wing and actually putting themselves out there, like actually making them feel like making them have some sort of level of importance, then that would definitely that would definitely be Randy Orton right there. So I definitely see this being built up slowly as we build to SummerSlam, and possibly we get the results of that at the pay-per-view. I don't know, but it definitely feels like some seeds are getting planted, especially for what we saw towards the end of the night.
Yeah, so like you said, let's lead up to Solo coming out. But should we talk about the mayhem right before Solo came out? What Jacob Fatu did to our tag team champion winners? Of course, guys, we will talk about the match, but this just leads up to it. The ending that Jacob Fatu ran down, took down Austin Theory. Grayson Waller ran away. He saw him running down. He said, nah, I'm not about this. Instead of me grabbing you too, Austin, I'm going to leave you here with the Samoan werewolf. He came down, took Austin Theory, and then took down both of the tag team champion of the DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano, out cold. The moveset that Jacob Fatu did was spectacular. I truly love it. It was entertaining. I felt bad for our DIY tag team champions, but it was so beautifully well choreographed that I just love what Jacob Fatu did. How about you, Drop? What did you feel about this destruction of DIY?
I honestly love what they did with that, because one of the things that a lot of people were saying for the longest time is Jacob Fatu is a special talent, and obviously you're going to see exactly what sort of talent he is down the road, and this is exactly what we saw here tonight, where we were able to see exactly what Jacob Fatu is capable of, because he went in there and he took out like Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and then he went in there and he took out Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. So right there off the bat, that's just showing you that he's somebody that you don't want to mess with, and somebody that's very talented. And it was pretty much like it's giving you like a little preview of what to expect from him in the future, because it's not like he's just going to be in the Bloodline story forever. Like, he's actually going to be having a big push in the future. Like, I can definitely see him, just like Jay, having a successful solo run where he's winning these different kinds of championships and he's having these main event level matches. Like, I can only imagine in the future you get like a Jacob Fatu versus Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes. Like, you get matches like that, and he's still young. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna look it up on here
Jacob
as
Fatu,
well.
I think he's 32. I think he's 32.
Oh, yeah.
And with 7 kids.
Oh, yeah. He's 32 years old. So he's not even in his prime yet. Like, he's still very young. So I'm honestly like really looking forward to seeing what else he does. And at least it goes to show, I mean, he is a better enforcer than Solo was.
Oh, hell yeah. The way this man flips, like, this man is doing what he does back then for maybe $200, $500 a night. Now he's doing what he does, getting paid the big bucks and doing all the flips and doing all the things that he's great at. Like, he is one of the best Samoans at what he does. The flips, I don't know why he does the extra, like, gargling, like the whole lip thing he does. But it works for his character and the beast mode that he is. And he just took down the DIY so good. Single-handedly, Wade Barry and Corey Graves, their commentary was really good. But Solo Sikoa comes out. He lists out the people he has taken down that did not acknowledge him and did not accept him to be the next person. Jimmy, Paul Heyman, and he said that once Roman comes back, he will acknowledge me too.
See, that's the thing. He's already digging himself a big hole right there, just mentioning Roman Reigns' name. Like, I can only imagine what's going to come back. Like, is Solo actually going to stay there in the ring and get ready for a fight, or is he going to, like, run away? Like, if you're saying all this shit to Roman,
he has to fight.
Yeah, if you're saying all this shit to Roman, then you obviously need to back it up. And why is BBL Bailey trending? Jesus.
Oh, we'll talk about that. Nia had no filter. She said, so is that what you got? But we'll talk about that, because that was one of her best lines for Nia. But Solo calls out for Cody. Cody came out. Let's just get straight to it. This was the rumor that we heard from 2-3 weeks ago, that it would be Solo versus Cody for the title at SummerSlam. And guess what, guys? The rumor that we heard is fucking true. Cody said, yo, I could give you the title. We could wait for Nick Aldis to prove it. But you know what? Deep down, right here in my soul, the adrenaline that's talking, I want to whoop your ass right now. That's what Cody was saying. He want to fight you right now. He was ready to fight Solo, Jacob, the Tongas, all four in one ring. He went, he pushed, he got knocked down, and Randy came in to protect. He said that it will happen no matter what the Tongas and the Bloodline does. Randy will come down and get your back. And it didn't work out because, you know, guys, if you do the math, it's 4 against 2. So that did not happen. So drop overall on this brutality, the chaos that happened, with Randy getting thrown to the table, with the chaos and the brawl that happened with the 4 against 2, and with Cody being helpless, watching Randy being thrown and getting three super kicks from Jacob Fatu, front and center, front of the camera. He told the cameraman, I'm gonna put you to work, I think, is what I heard. And the whole time Cody has to watch this happening helplessly. And why the fuck did Solo Sikoa hold the one for almost 2 minutes straight and then not grab the title? If you want the title, you should have grabbed the title as well and hold it up in the air and be like, "This will be mine." This is what you
Yeah,
should
that
have
would
done,
have.
Solo. It would help you to look more dominant. Not hold the finger for the whole 2 minutes and then you start to look awkward at the end and then you start doing this.
Yeah, I already know for a fact that would have left a lot of scars on people's faces. Just looking at that image of Solo holding up the WWE title. I can only imagine just going on Twitter, seeing that reposted all the time. Because I remember I saw this tweet earlier this week where it's like, post a picture that would like make your fandom go crazy, and I can easily see somebody retweeting that picture of Solo holding the title.
It definitely happened because we did. Small transition is not a quick side topic, but we did see one person hold the WWE title, and that was Braun Breaker this past week. He looked amazing with the title. It felt like it really fit him. So I did want to acknowledge that Braun Breaker looked amazing with the title when he was, I think, at an arena that was like a football or like a basketball thing that was going on. So it was really dope to see him with the title for Braun Breaker. Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
It fitted him well. I can't wait for him to have it in the far future.
Oh yeah.
But for Solo and everything, what do you think of the chaos that happened? Drop with Randy being thrown in everything? Because you said that this will probably be set up for the future with Randy and Cody. Is this because of him being helpless or not being like a good champion?
I mean, I don't know if I could really blame Cody in this situation because they are outnumbered. So, can you really blame Cody for everything that's really going on right now? Because you had him restrained in one spot, and if me and you were in that position, and let's say Whawkins was on the other end, and we saw Whawkins getting beat up, but we were restrained and we had something under our neck, we really couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just being honest. We couldn't really do anything. So if Whawkins was getting taken out like Randy Orton was in this episode of SmackDown, I mean, I can't really blame... I can't really beat Randy Orton and be like, oh, Cody, why didn't you do something? I mean, like, Cody couldn't really do anything because you got, like, what, 4 guys there? So it's like 2 against 4. And then you have somebody restrained, and then you have the 3 of them going up against Randy. So it's not really his fault. But I'm not entirely sure what the reason is for Cody and Randy. Like I said, we're gonna have to wait and see what that is in the future, because what matters now is Cody and Solo.
Yeah.
But I honestly really liked this brawl.
Yeah, the brawl was amazing.
Because again, I like how the Bloodline is being showcased. I like, well, Bloodline 2.0 is being showcased. I like how it's actually making them feel intimidating, like I mentioned before, because when I watch something like this, I want to make sure that I can actually believe in this bloodline, and I believe in this bloodline. Like, you're actually giving me legitimate reasons to believe in them, that they are intimidating, that they're a force to not be reckoned with. And just based on what they've done so far, like we saw tonight, like we saw with Jimmy, like we saw with Paul Heyman especially. I mean, that just goes to show that, yes, this is definitely a improvement from the previous bloodline that we saw before, because look at what they're doing right now. Look at all this different kind of destruction that they're causing. So I absolutely love that. And one of the things I do want to mention that was clicking in my head,
what's up?
Because for some reason I was like expecting somebody, I don't know if it was just me, but for some reason, the way that they were like playing out like these last couple minutes of SmackDown, it made me feel like there was somebody that was gonna show up.
Same.
Like, I don't know why, but there was
one.
like, yeah, because when I was watching this with my mom, I was like, Mom, it's like 9:54. We have like 6 minutes left. Like, is somebody coming out? Because usually when they do stuff like that, where they end a match early or they end a segment early, usually something big happens towards the end. But nobody showed up, because at first in my head I was thinking, oh, is Jimmy showing up? Because I wasn't expecting Roman, because Roman's somebody that you save for a pay-per-view to come back. Like, Roman Reigns returning, that's a pay-per-view. Like, I'm at, like, if let's say this, for example, let's say if CM Punk randomly showed up on an episode of Raw and SmackDown, it wouldn't really hit that hard if it wasn't at like a pay-per-view, and that's why they saved special moments for that, because it's like, okay, Survivor Series is in Chicago, is there a chance that CM Punk could return?
Yeah.
And you look at how loud that crowd was, so it's like looking at how they set everything up. Obviously Roman's returning at SummerSlam, but I thought Jimmy was coming back. I don't know why. Jimmy was just clicking through my head. I was waiting for him to show up, if he was in a disguise, or I was waiting to hear his theme song. Even though they would still be outnumbered, I was still thinking in my head, like, is Jimmy coming out? But now I'm thinking he's probably going to come with Heyman and Roman at SummerSlam, which, I mean, hey.
Oh, if that happened, it's going to be... The roof is going to be falling off the stadium because of how that pop will be for Roman and Paul and Jimmy, even Jay, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
That pop will be amazing. However, with Solo, one thing I always want to give a shout out throughout the time that Cody was being handcuffed through the ropes. I love that Solo saying that you're gonna watch this. We're gonna hold you here and you're gonna be helpless. Like, I love how he was throwing banter to Cody and telling him like shit talking, trying to put him down, like you're gonna watch Randy go through all this and everything. So it made it feel more special. It made it feel more impactful. So I love that for Cody and Solo's story to get built and see how their dynamic is. So I was very happy and impressed with that.
Oh yeah.
But any other thoughts about this segment of the Bloodline and what it could have led up to with Randy and everything else? Any last thoughts before we move on to our main storylines?
Other than what we discussed, that's all I really have to say.
All right, so let's move on to our main storyline. This is what's after the headliner. I want to switch before we talk about with Tiffany Stratton. I would love for us to talk about DIY since it kind of connects to the very end.
Yeah.
What happened with our boy Jacob Fatu. So we have DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano, the WWE Tag Team Champions, versus A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller. How did you feel about this match? Because it happened because of a rematch clause since they lost the title last week. How do you feel about this match overall? Any pros, cons? How did you feel?
Honestly, all I really took from this match, if I'm being 100% honest, is it was just building more to the Austin Theory and Grayson Waller story. That's all it was. Because you saw a moment within the match itself where Grayson Waller accidentally hit Austin Theory
Twice, right?
So from there, they're trying to build a story off of that, because they're trying to show us as the viewers that, okay, we're going to be having a story between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller down the line, and that's when you're going to get that Austin Theory face turn, and they might potentially have a match at SummerSlam or maybe another pay-per-view, I don't know, but it's just planting more seeds for that feud between the both of them. So that's honestly all I really took from this match. I wasn't expecting DIY to lose titles, especially after winning them last week. It really wouldn't make any sense at all. But it was just adding more to that story overall. That's honestly all I took from it. And then, of course, like we discussed already, it was also a good showcase for Jacob Fatu, just to show how talented he is. But that's honestly all I really took from that.
I agree 100% what you said. This match was to build the match between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Fuck Grayson Waller, because you have a friend like that will help you, but then when they're in trouble, they will put you in the crossfire and let you get hurt instead of them. So Grayson Waller is a bad friend for Austin Theory. You gotta choose your friends wisely, Austin Theory, because you're not choosing them or not even listening to other people telling you about your bad friends. Like, hey, this person is not being a good person to you. They're putting you in the crossfire where you're not supposed to. They're being very selfish for the title. And when he gets the one chance, he will drop you when it happens. And guess what? Austin Theory, it didn't happen once. It didn't happen twice. It happened 3 times, my guy. 2 times in the ring, and then he left you hanging when our boy Jacob Fatu came in swinging and got you at the end. And I agree 100% with what Drop said. This match was, like I have in my notes, Johnny and Campia have such a great chemistry between them. The way they had the Shattered Dream is such a great finisher. Oh my god, just the way their teamwork, throwing Grayson up in the air, and then Johnny Gargano catches him with the two knees up and just straight to the ground, and then just pin him. It was so beautifully well done, executed. A lot of flying between Johnny Gargano and plus Tommaso Ciampa. They do a lot of throws and everything, but they have such a great dynamic where when it happens to teams like Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, where they have great chemistry as characters, but no in-ring type of dynamic, it's not interesting or entertaining as a tag team. But DIY, they have the team, they have the flair, they have the outfit, the costume, everything works so well with both of them. So I love this match just to showcase our two guys, DIY, of how well and good they are and why they should be champion. So I was very happy to see them. And Austin Theory, I'm really curious to see what excuse you'll be hearing from Grayson Waller next week. And I bet you next week we will be having a Grayson Waller effect to explain why he's in the wrong. That's my bet. That's my guess / bet of what would be happening for next week Friday.
Oh yeah,
because we haven't had it in a while. So it'll be a great build up for SummerSlam to build the Easter eggs like between them of why they should be going against each other and why Austin Theory is slowly turning to the babyface instead of the heel no more.
I agree 100%.
So, talking about the babyface and talking about the champions, we should talk about the princess, the Barbie doll that Nia keeps talking about. And if you know what I'm talking about, that is the woman Money in the Bank winner, Tiffany Stratton. She came out here to celebrate her winning accomplishment this past Saturday for winning the Money in the Bank, and as the youngest woman in the Money in the Bank. And I know that record is not going to stay long. It will be broken for sure down the time when more of the Money in the Bank type of matches happen in the future. But Tiffany comes down and shoots her shot for Bayley, Roxanne, to be careful and watch out, which I was a bit confused, Drop, because I thought the Money in the Bank briefcase was only for what's on the main roster, aka for only Bayley, since she's part of SmackDown. If she was winning in Raw, then she has a chance to go for Liv, but now that she's only in SmackDown, I thought the briefcase was only for Bayley, not for Roxanne as well. And why would you mention that if you already won the NXT title previously? Why would that be the case?
Honestly, the main reason why they do that is they just want to show that Money in the Bank briefcase is eligible for any title that they want to go after. So that's why she mentioned Liv, Bayley, and Roxanne, because realistically she could cash in any of them. It doesn't really matter what brand she's on. But obviously, if I was her, I would cash in on either Liv Morgan or Bayley or Nia potentially if she does beat Bayley at SummerSlam, because the whole thing about the Money in the Bank briefcase is it doesn't really matter what brand you're on. You could pretty much cash that in on any champion of your choosing. Like, it really doesn't matter who has it at the end of the day. But obviously, it makes more sense for her to go after Bayley or Nia, given that there's already an ongoing story of Liv and Rhea. So that really wouldn't make sense to have Tiffany just automatically put in there. But one of the things I am expecting down the line, we didn't see it today, but I am definitely expecting her to design that Money in the Bank briefcase, because I don't think she's just going to keep it like that.
Yeah.
I feel like when she came out with that tonight, it was just for show, just to have a little celebration talking about how she won the Money in the Bank and everything like that. But I definitely expect her to have like some sort of design with it. And I honestly really enjoyed this segment because there was a lot of built between not just Tiffany but Bayley and Nia as well, and even just all three of them. I really liked it.
With all three of them, it came out really well. Nia, if you guys haven't been on Twitter or like you saw in the comment section, Drops brought up earlier, why is Bailey trending with BBL? It's because Nia comes out and interrupts Bailey because she came out first, trying to give advice to Tiffany, saying that, hey, I'm in your shoes. I know how it is to win the Money in the Bank. I won it back in 2019. So all I'm doing is trying to give you advice to know what's going on. However, Nia came in, interrupts, and Nia said, hey, Bailey, I know you're not the hugger no more. I injured before your SummerSlam match back in 2017. What are you now? Are you BBL Bailey? And she just slowly looks at her butt, and everyone knows what it meant and everything. If you don't know what BBL means, go search on Google. I don't need to explain it for you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
I already know what it is too. I don't need to look it up.
Exactly. But if you don't,
And it's not,
you're
it's not,
you're either too young, or if you don't know, just go search on Google.
and it's not some kind of Subway sandwich
Yes.
either.
But that happened, and I agree with Drop because another thing that quick side thing, if anybody's not aware, Cody has a new talk show, or probably like a short form content with WE. Is what do you want to talk about? His most recent and first guest was herself, the champion Bailey. She came and spoke about the women division, how well it's doing, the story of Liv Morgan, and how it's not such a title match. It's not with a woman versus woman match. Is the story of the character involving Liv Morgan with Dominic, with Rhea Ripley, with her not even being there. It involved her character still over months and weeks being passed. With Bailey, it's just being very proud that the women division is being acknowledged and is being shown, and she just hopes that it continues to prosper down the road. So I just love that Bailey gave the flowers to the women division and to what's going on and what's being cooked right now in the women division overall. So I just want to give a big shout out to Bailey and her thoughts about that. Drop, would you have any thoughts about Bailey's comments about the women division? Because you did say that you love this segment, so I just want to hear if you had any thoughts about what Bailey and her thoughts overall.
No, I like how she went out there and actually was showcasing how she felt about the woman getting involved and engaging storylines and stuff like that, because it should be equal to like what the men are getting as well. So it should be like that whole equal balance between both parties, because one of the things that I wanted for the longest time was a very engaging storyline between the girls, because we haven't really gotten anything like that, I believe, ever since the whole damage control bit with Bailey around WrestleMania. So, and I also remember around that time as well that a lot of the people that are fans of Liv Morgan wanted a really good storyline of her, because I'm pretty sure Vash remembers that whole who should Rhea face at WrestleMania thing. But look at where we're at right now. I mean, Liv's doing the best work of her career right now, especially with this storyline with Rhea right now, and I'm really invested in it. That's probably one of the things I look forward to the most when I'm watching Raw every week. Now Rhea's back. Now we're going to hear from her. That's going to be exciting. So
I got promoted. Yeah.
So I like how Bailey acknowledges that, and it also gets me really excited for the stories that's going on SmackDown as well, because one of the things I do want to say about this segment itself, like I mentioned earlier, is that you have you got like two different stories being built up within this segment itself. Tiffany's story and Bailey and Nia's story, because like I mentioned before in the past with these episodes that we've done, Bailey and Nia have a lot of history because they've known each other ever since they were both in NXT. So obviously they know each other very well. Obviously, like Nia said, she knew her when she was Hugger Bailey in the current version of Bailey that she is now. So obviously it's not like they're strangers to one another. Obviously they know who they are. So already off the bat, we've seen some pretty so already off the bat, these two know each other very well. So I'm expecting a good match for them. I mean, one of the things I'm really hoping to see from Bailey and Nia at SummerSlam is that avalanche Bailey to belly that Bailey did to Nia all those years ago, where her and Nia were on the top rope. She grabbed Nia and they just went and slammed right down on the ring. I'm really hoping to get something like that again, because I absolutely love when Bailey does that. But you have that little story being built right there, like we're seeing with Damian and Gunther on Monday. We're getting those little King of the Ring stories being paid off right now, so we're seeing that storyline getting built. And like I mentioned, Tiffany's story is also being built up as well. Now you're actually, no, now that I mentioned it, you got 3 different stories. You got Tiffany's cash in, then you also have Tiffany and Nia right now, because Tiffany Stratton has every right to use that briefcase to whatever.
Seize the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So I like how you're starting to build that tension between her and Nia, because Nia also has to keep in mind that just because she has this briefcase doesn't mean she's going to go to Raw and cash on Liv Morgan. Like, if there's an opportunity there, like if I'm Tiffany Stratton and I'm at ringside during Nia's match with Bailey, or maybe I'm in the back, if I see an opportunity there where these women are down and they can't move and they're just beat up to the point where they can't get up, I'm going to take that opportunity to cash in my Money in the Bank contract and use that to become women's champion. Like, I think that's a very smart decision. We've seen it many times before. The best time to strike is when they don't move. And when you see, and like you saw with Tiffany tonight, she saw that Bailey was out cold. So I don't blame her for thinking that, but obviously they're not going to do it on a SmackDown. They're going to do it on SummerSlam because I want to make that moment special. And I don't see her failing a cash in. I mean, we already had one with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and it made sense given the story of that.
Yeah.
But I definitely see Tiffany having a successful cash in. Like, I don't see, like, if it's Chelsea Green, as much as I love Chelsea Green, I feel like she probably would have been more of a failed cash in than somebody like Tiffany Stratton, because Tiffany Stratton's the future of your women's division. So obviously you're going to want to use this to elevate her character even more. So I definitely expect Tiffany to have a successful cash in. And I don't know if it was just me, but are they starting to tease like a babyface Tiffany?
I feel like it, because with the way
she'd have to be if she was going up against Nia, because I feel like hypothetically, if she does cash in on Nia, and if it's Bailey as champion or Nia as champion, whoever the case may be, if Nia ends up going after her, then I definitely feel like she's going to be a face. I mean, she's loved by the crowd. The crowd loves.
Oh, the crowd was shouting, Tiffy time,
Yeah.
Tiffy time. The crowd was loving it. Wade Barrett as well, Corey Graves, they was all behind it. They was all behind the Money in the Bank, saying that it was Tiffy time over there. She won it. It was a great opportunity for her, and I agree. Not yet to skip the fight between Michin and Nia, but the right end result that Nia took out Bailey, left in the dust, smack in the middle of the ring. Perfect opportunity. Because I was watching the match. I'm like, yo, Tiffany, perfect opportunity. Why are you not seizing this opportunity to cash in your Money in the Bank? Or at least tease it. I'm like, don't get out of the ring. But the way she was tapping out, like, I felt like she was shooing her. Like, come on, get out of the ring. Come on, get out of the ring already. And then she slowly turned back like, yo, ref, I probably want to cash in. Like, this is a perfect opportunity. Like, she's laying flat, unconscious. This is my moment. I'm about to win this. But guess what? Nia felt like, hold up. What you doing? And I love how Corey Graves said this. He said, she's testing the waters. She wants to learn how it goes. You know, girl wants to try it out, you know, put it to the ref, see how fast the ref is. Corey Graves was trying to, you know, back up, saying like, yeah, she's just doing all this for show, trying to practice it. I love how he was lying for her. Like, yeah, this is all part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very cute just to see that the chemistry being questioned between Nia and Tiff. So I really love that very much between them two. But the question is, how did you enjoy this match though? Because while in the beginning of this, Bailey was still with Tiffany. Bailey attacked her while Nia's right there. Nia and Tiff went 2-on-1, but then who came for the rescue? It was Michin herself. She came with a candlestick, gave the 1-2-3. Nia went down, Tiff disappeared. She said, "Nope, not getting hit by that." She left, and then we started the match after commercial break of Michin versus Nia. What do you think of this match overall?
I honestly thought it was a good match for Michin, because Michin was actually really impressive within this match itself, and he was going up against Nia Jax. So I did have some fun watching this match. I thought it was really good. I loved how Tiffany was there to help out Nia, and Bailey was helping out Michin. So at least there's like a balance between the both of them, so it's not like they're getting teamed up on each other. Like, there's actually a good balance there. And I just thought it was a good moment for the women. I mean, the women had a lot of showcase at this tonight, and I'm actually really happy about that.
I agree. Both of these ladies had a good match. I was really good. I was really shocked, not in a bad way, but how with Michin, she's getting time in NXT. This past Tuesday, Alga Michin was going against Jada Parker. She has like a whole rivalry going there with Jada Parker, trying to push the NXT Women Division over there. And then she's putting the double time on her main roster at SmackDown against Nia with candlestick and everything, showing the aggressive side. I love how Bailey was there supporting her, like, hey, tapping her, like, yeah, go Mitchell, you got this, being very supportive, being right up there. And then Tiffany, of course, being the Barbie girl, or being the princess to the queen, right there being supportive and trying to distract the ref, where Nia could take a Michin with her special. I forgot her finisher. I think it's called the Samoan drop for Nia, right?
It was the Annihilator.
The Annihilator, that's what it is. That happened, and it was very disappointing for Michin to lose, but it makes sense for story. She is the queen. Nia is not meant to lose until SummerSlam. If you had to say, Drop, I'm going to ask you a one-hitter question, quick. Who do you think is going to win, Bailey versus Nia? Without Tiffany being included.
Without her being included?
Yes.
I would probably say Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey? Same here. I don't think
But if Tiffany's included, this is where I'm going with this. If no Tiffany interference, I'm saying Bailey. But with Tiffany being involved, I'm saying Nia, only because I feel like she's gonna screw over Nia. Especially if Nia starts being an ass to her.
Yeah, we have a good 3 weeks to see how the chemistry gets built up, because Nia is gonna be probably feeling salty about Tiffany almost cashing in this past Friday compared to next week. So we're gonna see maybe some type of tremblance between the relationship probably breaking down, or Nia probably putting some distance against Tiffany. So I'm really curious to see how's that gonna be. I also vote for Bailey to be winning. Very excited for that. And overall, Michin, great match. You put the aggression aside. I'm glad you're working. You are being double booked for NXT and SmackDown. Congrats. Continue what you have to do. Who has done that?
Oh, yeah.
Annihilator at home? Well, Mr. Pringles? Oh, that's a good question. Chat, let us know who has done it at home yourself. We would love to know. Drop, would you like to answer that question?
Just random. That's why I'm laughing.
I know. But
I don't know if I'd want to.
Exactly. But you know what's not random, Drop? Our boy L.A. Knight comes down and promotes his contract and says that Nick Aldis signed it and I signed it myself live on air for the U.S. title contract for SummerSlam against Logan Paul. How did you think about this? Were you excited that this is finally happening? He gave the real tape. He said, look at this. Look at this. 2 weeks ago, guys, I pinned our guy the U.S. title. He even quote retweeted one of the people on the timeline, I think it was Wrestle Ops or something. They asked, how do we think of Logan's Paul title reign of only 2 title defenses? And LA Knight retweeted saying that zero. He is 0 out of 10 as a champion because he still hasn't beat me, LA Knight. Yeah. So he gave that proof on Twitter and then gave on SmackDown saying that I pinned Logan Paul 2 weeks ago on a match to qualify for Money in the Bank. But guess what? I didn't win. But guess what? I am Money in the Bank. I cash in myself all the time. And that's what LA Knight spoke. He gave it to the crowd and said, yo, Logan, I'm waiting for you. Now it's your turn to sign the paper.
I'm honestly really excited that we're finally getting this all together because I remember talking about it when we first saw it on SmackDown, where we saw Logan and LA Knight like lock eyes with each other after Logan Paul came out of Nick Aldis's office. So I'm actually glad that they're taking their time building this match because it makes sense to have this match in Logan Paul's hometown. And I'm honestly excited to see LA Knight because I'm pretty confident LA Knight's winning the match. But I'm just happy that LA Knight's finally getting his moment where we can see this man walk around with a title. Because I've seen so many people post on Twitter tonight. They're like, this is your next United States champion. And I feel like LA Knight could definitely elevate that title. So I'm honestly super excited for it. But I really like how LA Knight came out there and he honestly has like every right to ask for a title opportunity just like Solo did. Because like I mentioned before when we talked about Money in the Bank, with Solo pinning Cody Rhodes, that automatically gives him a title shot because you pinned the champion right there. And it's not going to affect Cody because Cody is pretty much at the point just like other established superstars on the roster. If they get pinned, it's not going to affect them in any way. So like what we saw with Solo pinning Cody, that makes sense why they're having their match because that gives Solo a shot. And with LA Knight and Logan, I like how they played that back because that gives LA Knight a legitimate reason to have a match with Logan Paul. Otherwise, he would have to be in some sort of qualifying match in order to get a shot at Logan Paul. But since he pins the champion, that already makes you worthy of actually challenging that champion. So I'm honestly really happy this is getting set up tonight because I'm just honestly excited just to see LA Knight getting a big moment soon, especially when it comes to a match like this that a lot of us have been waiting for so long. I mean, I've been waiting for this match ever since Money in the Bank last year. When they first came in contact with each other for the first time, they were talking all this shit and how LA Knight was saying how he makes I think he mentioned something along the lines where the kind of videos that Logan Paul makes are for like little girls or stuff like that. Like only kids watch his shows. So this is like a year in the making kind of feud where they're actually starting to rebuild to it again. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the promo work for it. I'm excited to see Logan Paul.
I agree 100% to back that up because one thing that I hope this continues to be a long-term rivalry drop. I hope this is a long-term rivalry between Logan and LA Knight. Like, you know how we have Randy, John Cena, CM Punk. It's amazing to be in the current era of what we're watching and critiquing and being a fan of right now. That years from now, we will be talking about, oh, guys, remember the Logan and rivalry between Logan Paul and LA Knight? Like, that's something that we're seeing right now live, being told from last year. Like you said, it's been told from a year ago to being brought back up now. Long-term storytelling. This is something that Triple H has been talking about for weeks and months, from press conference to press conference to year since last year WrestleMania to now. Well, Paul Heyman himself, long-term booking, long-term storytelling. We're in the 4th inning, the 5th inning, 6th inning, 8th inning, whatever it is, long-term booking, and I love that very much for LA Knight. He's getting his moment. He comes out, tells the crowd what it is, tells them the moment, tells him to be hyped that he's finally going for the U.S. title, hearing the pop that is meant to be for Logan. We even have Wade Barrett saying that this is such a great match for the megastar, and my dude was just sliding off the chair just like this, and like, Wade Barrett, what the fuck you're doing? But it was just so random just to see Wade Barrett doing that, and to see that he spoke to Nick Aldis for the match, and he gave his reason that he pinned Logan Paul last 2 weeks ago. He is the amazing person he is, and he has fun on Twitter. But we did get confirmation that Logan Paul is appearing next week to respond towards LA Knight called out for the match. Most likely he will accept it, and most likely, guys, I'm gonna give him my answer. He will be losing that belt at SummerSlam for LA Knight.
And I'm looking forward to it too, because I've been wanting to see LA Knight for a belt for so long, and now he's finally getting his moment. And also around that time as well, Logan Paul's baby with his fiance should be due, so he probably wants to take some time off to spend some time with the child, which makes sense. So I am pretty sure LA Knight is going to be champion.
Yeah.
But we're just glad overall that this is actually getting set in motion now.
Hey, if Logan Paul ever comes a full-time wrestler that's there every week and as a champion, I'm all for it. For you to only be champion now for, I think, 100 days or 200 days, I believe you are now, and only have 2 title defense, that's not that much, my guy. And I'm kind of a bit like the U.S. title not being there that much. It's like, hey, we need some champion there to show face. LA Knight's a perfect guy. It's a perfect picture, so I'm excited for it. But, Drop, I want to ask you, were you excited about this tonight? We had a tag team match between Legado del Fantasma, who represented them was Angel Garza and Humberto Carillo, versus Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. How did you feel about this match? Did you enjoy this? Because no lie, I like it. I was happy for Baron Corbin. Even the commentator of Wade Barrett and Corey Graves said that they both went back to NXT, rejuvenated themselves, reshaped themselves, and right now is you hit the home run or you go home, because they said themselves that they both have gone back to NXT numerous times to rejuvenate themselves. The question is is this going to be a tag team for them? Because they have great chemistry, and I would not mind it just to get their eyes on the prize, even have them as a team to go against DIY in the future. I have no problem. What do you think about this, Drop?
I honestly, I can absolutely get behind Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews tag team if they want to keep it going that way, because like you said, they did work great together tonight, and that they want to start building another tag team in their division. I can definitely see something like this being successful for them, because at least it gives them something to do.
Yep.
So they're not in the back doing nothing. Like, at least we have the both of these guys working together, especially when it comes to somebody like Apollo Crews, because Baron Corbin still has his moments here and there throughout the show. But with Apollo Crews, you know, he's just back there not really doing anything. And I'm glad that he actually has an opportunity, because he has a lot of talent, and I'm glad that's being showcased with him and Baron Corbin. I mean, hey, Braun Breaker is a lot better on his own now. So if you want to give Baron Corbin like another person to work with when it comes to a tag team, I think this is really good. It could definitely help both of them down the road for sure.
I agree. It sucks the Wolf Dogs are not there no more, but you know what? We are in WWE. The Wolf Dogs could come back in the future next year in the draft, the following year. We can have Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin have another tag team run just for the hell of it for the main roster. So I would not mind to see a resurgence if they ever come back together of the Wolf Dogs. But now we have Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. I really enjoyed their tag team. They had good chemistry. Baron Corbin doing jump flies over the top rope, and with Apollo Crews assisting, that's something that I did not expect. I was very excited for that. Baron Corbin being a high flyer was something not on my list. I didn't expect for such a big dude to be like a high flyer like he is. Has he always been like that, Drop?
Oh, Baron Corbin, or
Yes, Baron Corbin.
every so often, not all the time, just every so often.
Oh, okay. So glad to hear that Baron Corbin is a high flyer. Apollo Crews, like Drop said, Apollo Crews doing the work. He is getting the work instead of being at catering or not being on TV and probably being at a dark show instead. He is getting TV time, and for tag team partner Baron Corbin, I feel like they will work well together. Like this show tonight. Hopefully it happens more in the future. And my boy Santos Escobar, what the fuck you're doing? I feel like you just gotten lost and not being back on TV time. I feel like you're not being represented or being useful no more. I feel like he has gotten lost in the shuffle. How do you feel about that, Drop, or do you not even care?
It's like I said before, you got to give me a reason to believe in you. They have not given me any reason to believe in Santos. Granted, at first, when he had his initial heel turn, I was very invested with the direction they were going down of his character. But as of this very moment, you're not really giving me anything to sink my teeth into to really care about him whenever he shows up on screen.
True.
So it's really hard for me to really say anything.
But we have a couple options from our chat. Dominic S says Wolf Cruz or Crew Wolf as current names. To me right now, they're both a no
like
for
Wolf.
me. Wolf Cruz is probably
Yeah, I
the
don't
only
really
option.
know. Yeah, if I had to choose between the both of those, I would say that, but I'm not entirely sure what they would call themselves.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be hard choices from there right now. But out of those two, like out of two options you give me, Wolf Crew. But those two, like maybe let's probably brainstorm a bit more and see what else they could come up with. But talking about our last two segments of the night, the last things that came is the woman division had a match. It was Naomi versus Blair Davenport. I'm gonna pass it to you first, Drop. What do you think of this match? Any type of highlights? Because you have seen Blair Davenport from NXT move up to draft. Do you feel like she did much better in this match around than last week one?
Mm, I feel like she did. I feel like, especially since she was in a one-on-one match, I feel like she was able to actually showcase what she was capable of in that match. Because sometimes when you're in a triple threat, you don't always have that spotlight on one person. At least when it comes to a singles match, you have the opportunity to pay attention to both competitors in the ring. So I feel like she definitely had more time to shine in this match as well. And I'm honestly hoping for the best with Blair on the main roster because she definitely has a lot of talent. And I want to make sure it's being used properly. And I'm hoping she finds something to do. I mean, one thing I did notice that I saw other people point out, because I didn't notice it at first when I was watching SmackDown tonight, is that Blair was actually talking with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn in the background of the show.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either until somebody pointed it out. So I'm hoping that's leading to something, which it normally does when you see it in the background. It normally does lead to something. So I'm hoping it does I'm hoping it leads to something that helps benefit her character, because I want to see her get a couple wins on her belt, because she hasn't even gotten any wins on the main roster yet.
Yeah, I believe she's right now 0-2. I believe. I believe she's 0-2. Because I do want to give a big shout out. Wade Barrett and Corey Graves, they talk highly of Blair and spoke about her resume. She traveled around the world. Example that they said about UK and Japan. She was trained by Io Sky. That was something I was not aware about. That Wade Barrett said that she was trained by Io Sky. That tonight,
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, Wade Barrett said that that she was trained by Io Sky, and that Corey Graves said that tonight fate belongs to fate. That tonight fate belongs to Davenport. Nice line. It gives you that type of one-liner that hopefully works. Maybe one day a merch. but it was a nice one-liner for Kurt Graves about Blair Davenport. It was smart, and it was a good match. I agree with Drop. She did do much better in this match compared to the triple threat. I feel like this was a good opponent for her to do with Naomi one-on-one. It was a good type of setup to show her skill set in a match. It showed aggressiveness, and it showed a future rivalry to have Naomi have something to do on the week-to-week basis, still interact to your other superstars like we will speak about with Jade and Bianca, but with Blair Davenport, a young superstar, to be working with somebody who has been in the game for more than 10 years, that knows already the system and everything else, and could show you the ropes like in the ring they did. Blair Davenport, I feel like they did an amazing job, so I was very happy to see how well she executed her role. So for Blair Davenport, you got the loss, but you wasn't done, because Naomi got the win, but then after, later in the night, Naomi went in the back, girl came out after medical, girl had her strap on the shoulder, and then she met with the homies. She met with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, looking fly as hell. Said, hey, we haven't forgot about business. We're gonna get the tag team belts of the women division. We're gonna get our belts back to gold. Jade Cargill said, we don't gotta train. We're that good. I feel like that's gonna cost them. Cause you saying that we don't gotta train, I'm like, you guys fuck up last time, so maybe you should. But our girl Bianca said, we don't got to, because you think we're that good. Yep, they all snap. We move along. They all said bye to each other, and then Naomi got tricked from our girl Blair Davenport, saying, hey, the best woman won. Blair move along, and then got Naomi from the back. What do you think of all that? The meetup with our future maybe tag champions once again, and Blair Davenport coming from behind and said, I got you this time.
See, that's actually a good question, because I really don't know what what Bianca and Jade are doing, because ever since they lost the titles, they haven't really had a clear direction of what they're doing. And I'm honest, I mean, and it would kind of be a waste if they weren't on the SummerSlam card, because that's a pretty big event within the year itself. Like, that's a A-level pay-per-view, like a WrestleMania and a Royal Rumble and Survivor Series.
What do you think they will try to build their tag match to go and land at SummerSlam? Of the rematch go with Bianca and Jade versus Aslan Dawn and Abba Fire. Maybe they will have the rematch then at the time.
I mean, it would make sense if they want to give them some sort of match at SummerSlam, unless it ends up being like another
SmackDown, like on that Friday night.
Yeah, or if it's like another triple threat or something like that, or Fatal 4 or whatever. I'm not entirely sure. Like that's a thing that like I'm really confused about, because I just don't see them not being on this card, but at the same time, we really don't know what they're going to do. Could they go after those titles again? Sure. But my big question when it comes to the whole Bianca and Jade situation is, what's next after the tag titles? Because you can't make their whole story about those tag titles. Like, what's next for them? Like, let's say hypothetically those tag titles didn't exist, or if there was an ongoing storyline with those tag titles between two different teams, what would they be doing at this moment?
I got the perfect answer for you, Drop. We having the future woman version of the U.S. title be introduced soon, and I feel like Jade Cargill could go for that title down the line, because Jade Cargill could go for the U.S. title of the women's, but Bianca, she doesn't need that title. She's already big enough in main events, many POEs, and WrestleMania. She is Mrs. EST. She doesn't need that mid-card title, so she could still have her eye on the prize on the main title. But if Jade could go for the mid-card, this could still have them as a team without her trying to betray each other yet. What do you think?
I feel like it would definitely make sense. Like, I mean, I could actually. I'll put it like this. I feel like when it comes to a mid-card title in this situation, especially if there's other storylines brewing within the women's division on the main roster, I feel like this would be like the perfect way to like throw a mid-card title in there. So at least you could help build prestige to that title, and you could also add something for those girls to fight over. Like if the main event is if the main event is full and you can't really get involved with that, at least having something like that there would be very nice. And like the thing about me when it comes to the mid-card title, and I'll say it again, I'm not against them having a mid-card title. I just would prefer them to have one mid-card title, because I feel like two is a bit much when it comes to mid-card title for the women. Because I feel like if you were to do one, you could at least have one and have it float between brands. So if you want to have an ongoing feud between certain people, you could do something like that. But it's like, I don't know. We might just have to wait and see what ends up going on between Jade and Bianca and all of them.
It really depends what Triple H, Shawn Michaels, again, from what we said earlier with NXT, you know, having Stephanie being added, having Gilia being added very soon for NXT. Roxanne should be coming up to the main roster very soon. Corey Jade might be coming back soon. So the women roster will be getting packed. And the mid-card title, as long as that it gets well written and is being involved in a week-to-week basis and is not feeling like chopped liver like the tag titles have been.
Mm-hmm.
I love how the tag team division is getting spotlight now more than ever for the woman with having all these characters. We just gotta see now having a mid-card title being evolved, how would it feel off balance, or would it feel oversaturated now? So that's the big question. So overall, I'm happy for Naomi and Blair Davenport to have the little rivalry going on. Blair Davenport said, hey, the best woman once, psych, you would have thought. Boom, from the back of the head. That happened. Do you think there's going to be like a round 3 match for next week? Or you're curious to see what else are they going to be building for Blair Davenport?
I can definitely see it being a potential match for next week. Like having Bianca, Jade, and Naomi against Blair and Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I can definitely see that.
But talking about other woman roster, we had a little small segment we don't need to give too much attention to. We have Chelsea Green found out that Nick Aldis is not here. She stole my frustration. Her neck injury reminded me of, I cannot remember his name for some reason, Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, I believe is her husband's name, that he had the same neck injury all those years ago as Zack Ryder, and he had the whole plastic thing and everything. It reminded me a lot of the current character.
Matt Cardona?
Yeah, because he also had the fake neck injury that he did a couple years ago back when he was on the main roster. So Chelsea Green having the same thing, and she also spoke to Braxton, saying that people calling her from Money in the Bank that she's the Mother Mayhem, the Princess of Pain, and the death-defying diva. What do you think of the whole Chelsea Green segment of Nick Aldis not being here tonight, even though he signed the paper with LA Knight tonight? What do you think of this whole segment? Quick little conversation about it.
I honestly really liked that it was giving something for Chelsea to do within the show, like she typically gets within these SmackDown shows. So I'm glad you have a little segment where you're acknowledging that she's still there. So I really did like that. And I'm honestly hoping, I actually think that's probably why they did that. So it resembles what happened with her husband. I think that was the whole stick behind it, because even he acknowledged that online. But I do like that. I just like she's doing something. I'm hoping she gets into something seriously though.
Yeah, we just gotta hope that there's something happens. Again, we have the mid-card title. We have options for it. Piper Niven is still being in the front and center with Chelsea Green. You know, she's getting in her comfortability. These people are being shown. So I love Chelsea Green being there. She's a comedy relief in the perfect way. Like, I feel like Chelsea Green is the version of R-Truth in the women division. Wouldn't you agree, or I'm a bit far off?
No, I agree with you. She definitely does feel like that. I do agree with that.
Nice. So our last segment, our last conversation of the night is one but only the MVP of the Money in the Bank, and that's Andrade. The video package that we get, the interview with Braxton, and the setup for Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes next week. Drop, what did you think of this segment with Andrade, Braxton, and Carmelo Hayes saying that, nah, you stole my win, you stole my limelight?
I'm glad it's giving them something to do. That's the benefit of this whole entire segment, is that it gives Andrade and Carmelo Hayes something to do. You could have an ongoing feud between the both of them. That's really cool because they're both very talented wrestlers, so they should be utilized very well. So I am very happy that this right here was building to their potential match next week, or possibly maybe even at SummerSlam. You never really know, but I'm glad that they're at least doing something, and I'm glad that it was also acknowledged within the Money in the Bank match itself that there can be other stories being built in that match besides Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Like, you just built out a story just because Andrade took out Carmelo Hayes in the Money in the Bank match. So I really like that.
Same. I love how the company itself, the show itself, was giving the flowers to Andrade, saying that he was the MVP. He was very proud, and my man knows how to rock a suit and tie. You know, wear the glasses, slowly take them off. He has the character, the persona, very well to the T. And I love how very detailed and proud that he was being told that he was the MVP of the Money in the Bank. That was awesome to hear. I was very happy to hear that for Andrade and what he is to the character and how much proud he is. He was like, he was asked by Braxton, saying, "What's next for you? What it is that you are gonna do?" He was thinking about it, but then Carmelo Hayes and his cocky mouth, he's too confident, and that's gonna bite him in the ass with his confidence, cockiness that will be getting beat by Andrade. But Drop, you said something wonderful, that stories are being told that are not even of the winners of the Money in the Bank. Even the people that lost are having additional stories being told throughout the next couple of weeks. Just like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, because the person who had a feud before Andrade, it was Carmelo Hayes with LA Knight. But now that LA Knight kind of transitioned to his eyes only to Logan Paul, I love how Carmelo's story, it doesn't feel like a big shift. It just feels like, hey, you fucked me up over for next week. Now I got beef with you. So I love how it feels very, very balanced for their understanding for one another.
Oh, yeah. I definitely agree. I'm glad that you brought that up because it's always good to have a direction for your talent, and I'm glad that they're putting these two together because they could actually create magic in the ring.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes does next week. That's a match that will be happening next week. I thought it was actually going to be happening tonight, but by the time it hit 9:30 and what they were going on, I'm like, oh, this match is not happening tonight. I thought it was going to happen exactly tonight, but no, it happened next week. But hey, it's one that we already know for the docket. We're excited for. We're slowly getting built up for SummerSlam. But guess what, chat? This is our overall conversation. The segments for tonight, we spoke about each single one of the conversation that's happening. But now that begs to differ. What is our SmackDown overall thoughts? Chat, let us know down in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts about the show itself? Let us know if we missed anything to discuss about for tonight. In the meantime, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Pringles and Dynaman that they miss Whawkins come back to the show, but he will be back here for the Monday show on Monday Night Raw and for next week Friday. Yes, it's a quick show, but it's because we literally broke it down already. It's an hour and a half show. We told you what it is about the Bloodline. We spoke about it. All the time codes after the stream is done, the time codes will be right there on it to know that if you miss anything, you could just go back to the beginning of the show and see what you missed, all the discussion. And this is, hey, also if we have an early show chat, if you're here, you could bring the conversation and ask us any other question before we end the show as well. So if you have any questions about the show that we missed, ask away. If not, we could just wrap the show anytime soon and much faster. But Drop, let us know your thoughts about SmackDown Overall. Were you entertained? Was it a good SmackDown for you? Do you think it could have been better? Were you pleased?
I'm honestly happy, like I put in the thumbnail for today, that they're slowly building up to SummerSlam. So I'm very happy that you're taking the time to do that. Probably what stood out the most for me tonight would probably have to be what happened with the Bloodline and Tiffany Stratton segment with Bailey and Nia Jax and with LA Knight. That's what really stood out to me. So I'm really happy that we have a lot of good things to look forward to for SummerSlam. I mean, I think next month in general overall is going to be a crazy month. So I'm definitely excited to see where everything is going to be going.
It's going to be interesting. Like, I feel like they've been slowly building, promoting week to week, Monday and Friday shows around SmackDown, NXT going very well. I'm doing my best to start watching consistently week to week. So I'm adding a new show week to week with Raw and SmackDown, watching it as the team we review it, and then I'll be watching NXT on Discord. Guys, join our Discord. The link is down below in the description. So, if you want to have more discussion that's not just about pro wrestling, go check that out, because we also talk about anime and manga, the Captain America 4 trailer came out. We have discussions all about that on Discord. But for SmackDown, I really had a good time with it. The Bloodline 2.0 is continuing to show how savage they could be, how dominant they are, how ferocious they could be. Like Jacob Fatu, we finally saw this dude do all the movesets that we've been wanting to see him do since Money in the Bank. We saw a fraction of his power. It's just like you hear the meme, like, you saw a fraction of my power. Now with Jacob Fatu, you saw the beast coming out. He didn't give no fucks. He got told by Soto Sokoa, show the hands to these fellas, and that's what he did. Jacob Fatu came out and was a beast. I was very happy to see that. With DIY, very glad they won. But like we said earlier in our conversation, this builds the feud between Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller down the road. So overall, I was very happy with that. Bailey, you will win. I believe in you. Nia, great one-liner of the BBL Bailey. I'm sure it's still trending currently on Twitter /X. I'm sure that's still going on around. Even drops it, yeah. So is it definitely a plus? It's definitely going around. Really curious to see what Tiffany briefcase will look like. Would it look like very pink? Would it have a clock? Would it just have like a spray paint of like saying it's all about Tiffy Town? Will one side say Tiffy Town? The back will have a clock. Really curious to see. Or would it have like a watch, like a Michael Kors type of theme? So I'm really curious to see what the briefcase type of design will be for Tiffany Stratton. Very excited. And I feel bad for my boy Randy Orton being thrown to another table. This man just keeps getting back injuries like no tomorrow. This man is not breathing. Let's see what chat is saying. The 24 Kids Choice Awards starts to the Nickelodeon. Yeah, sponsored by SquarePants. Patrick Star is hosting. Wow, I did not know about that. I did know about the Kids Choice Awards that is happening today at 7 p.m. EST on the 13th. So yeah, that is a very good point. But other than that, about SmackDown, it seems like nobody else has any questions for SmackDown for tonight. Drop, have any last thoughts? If not, let's move on to our outro, and we're done with the show.
No, that's all my thoughts.
All right, chat. Like you heard from Drop, this is all our thoughts, and we appreciate for you guys tuning in. Yes, this is a short show, but you know what? It's good to have a short show sometimes, because if this is what we had to discuss for all of SmackDown of July 12, 2024, definitely appreciate for you guys checking in. As always, the time codes are down below in the comment section. Like the video, comment below your thoughts about what you guys thought about SmackDown or episode of Weebs of the Ring, episode 46. We appreciate you guys for checking out the shorts. We appreciate you guys checking out our content of the Anime Podcast episode 149 that dropped yesterday. Check out the podcast. We had a great time for our conversation with the team and myself, Whawkins, and Jokestar with our guest, Crash, as well. So definitely tune in and let us know in the comment section about that or what you guys think. Other than that, we appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, why not do exactly what I said? We're known as AniMa Weeb Studio on all social media platforms. Just remember, that's a we with a 3. Also use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring, like down below is all our ads, to interact with us about anything regarding wrestling before, during, or after our shows. The feedback is always appreciated, as we're nothing without you tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is represented by AniMa Weeb Studio. Thanks to our production team, as myself, Whawkins, DropThisBox, Roman, Jokestar, and as we have a special thanks to our producers. Thank you for joining us, and remember, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everyone. We appreciate you for joining in. We see you on the next one on Monday Night Raw next week, a Thursday stream of the Anime Podcast, episode 150. And Weebs of the Ring for next week, SmackDown episode 47 and 48. We see you then. Take care.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
I appreciate you guys for coming in and Vash's fan. Like, comment, and subscribe.